Okay, a tale of two fenders. This crap is going to be all about how two similar damaged panels can be night and day difference. One's going to make you want to beat your head off a wall. One, not so bad. So let's take a look at which one's which, and let's hear a quick word from me. I haven't posted anything in a while, and you're probably mad, but listen, I've been super busy. Hail hit everywhere around me. It didn't hit my town necessarily, but every town around where I live is completely jacked up with hail. So we've been dealing with a whole bunch of that. So tonight I'm here late at my shop trying to get some stuff done. Hopefully I get some of this put together for you and get it posted up tonight. I think we're gonna start with a tale of two fenders. Yes, it is, a tale of two fenders. Now, ask me what the educational value of this video will be. I'm not sure. It's gonna be in there. You might have to look a little deeper. Really, that's okay. I shouldn't have to spoon feed everything to you. Wait for it. Wait for it. Did you hear that? That's the sound of half the audience clicking off. But for the rest of you, let's call them the better you. Let's take a look at this here. So this fender right in this area has bracing. That's not what I expected. Generally, whenever you're looking at a fender like this, it's wide open, and that's what makes these fenders a bit easier to fix big damage on anywhere else. So you can see how open it is, and right there, that little son of a bitch right there is what's killing me. Now that hole that you see there, there's a whole bunch of those all the way up to the front. So basically my option is this. Play hopscotch in those tiny little holes all the way up to the front of the fender. So what I'm trying to do here is separate that fender from that bracing just a little bit so I can slide some different tools in here. Now I'm going to use this soft tip that you're seeing. I also use the killer whale tail from Stanliner, a small one. And that is going to bring us to maybe you can learn something here. I'm going to talk about some Stanliner tools. No, I am not certified to train in Stanliner techniques with their tools, anything like that, but I do have a trip to Lithuania planned. I talked to Thomas from Stanliner, and we are working on that. But first things first, let's look at the second dent that we have. Kind of a similar Subaru. All right, let's start this bad boy out with a doodah. We just found out some great news, but I can't tell you. I can still remember. Oh, we'll have to set up our anti-blowout mechanism first. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. And that's kind of how that went for a little while here. We'll get a little more serious. Oh yeah.
Fixed. Send it out.
Done. Get rid of it. Okay, maybe not. Well, yeah, so we got about 80% now. You know, it's not even possible to get it any more than that. Oh God, I'm a jerk. Anywho, so you can see here with this wide open spaces that the Subaru provides us, I can use this big wide soft tip on here like I could not with the Honda. So these are both going to look a little bit jacked up to the untrained eyeball to start out with, but one is significantly more jacked up than the other. Let's take a look at what the Honda looked like after the very first round of pushing. That is ugly. Ugly, ugly. Super ugly. Real bad. And now let's take a peek at the Subaru. As you can see, those high spots and low spots, there's a huge difference between high and low there, but it's nice and round, unlike choppy like the other one is. Now that's because we can use the graduated system that's big, wide, soft, down to something sharper. So here is the Honda, and see the difference here. Now I probably could have filled those gaps in a little bit better, but that's not too bad. Stanliners are badass, man. Okay, let's talk about some techniques here. So when I talked about the graduated system, you saw me use that doodah and I had that big wide Craftsman tip on it. So graduated, I'm gonna try to start big and get smaller. This is a system for dents that don't have a lot of pressure, there's no kind of stretch metal, that kind of thing. So this is big, wide damage that doesn't need any kind of gathering or shrinking, that kind of thing. So you saw me use the doodah and I had a Craftsman tip on it. That works really well. In fact, this time I wish I would have used probably a dent dial with a big wide leather tip, but this is a very busy shop, and sometimes we don't have time to set that kind of thing up. So, next step would be something like this. This is the Blem Double Bend soft tip tool. I get asked all the time, hey, what's your favorite soft tip? This guy right here, Blem Double Bend. It's put years and years and years of good service with me. Now you also saw me using this little mini whale tail guy. Now, this does some cool shit. So you've seen on my crease video, you can iron out creases with this bad boy like nobody's business, but also there's these dragging methods. So think of a pile of leaves, right? You reach over to the other side of the pile of leaves and you just rake it on back towards you. Small motions. That's the basics of it. Again, I'm not Stanliner trained. This is what I figured out. Now the cool thing about Stanliner tools, if you pay attention to them, they all kind of tell you what they should be used for. No exception here. Also search around the internet, watch people use them. There is some bad information out there too, so don't do that. So snakes, I talk about these guys a lot. Another wonderful thing about Stanliner tools is almost to a tool, they're all shaved like so. So on this Honda that I'm working on here, that became super important because I had to work these little bad boys into some braces and, you know, twist, push, again, drag. You can do that same technique with this and some other things that I figured out that I don't know if are technically Stanliner techniques or not, but they work for me. Another thing is a lot of them. I don't have one here with me right now, but, you know, have these rounded things. And even that one's got kind of a curve there. And you can actually ride that curve on the panel and you can see it on your panel kind of making these arches. And you can use that curve to bring up a lot of metal quickly. Again, I'm not Stanliner certified yet, but I will be. And I think you're gonna find that that is a cool technique. Now, right now, the only tools that do Stanliner stuff is Stanliner. But I got a phone call from a guy who does manufacture tools, and he is taking some of these techniques and he is applying them to his tools without jacking any Stanliner designs, which I can respect that. That's basically him admitting these techniques work and I'm gonna jump on board and start helping design tools kind of based around these techniques. So watch out for that. I am super stoked about these tools. I saw some pictures and they're gonna be awesome. Okay, so I sped this up 20 times because I just want to show you how damn long I was doing this. Not being able to push with the soft tip on these non-stretchy kind of dents is a pain in the ass. Now, Stanliner did keep this a hell of a lot cleaner for me, but still, it was terrible. Also, I'm trying to explain some Stanliner techniques here, but my audio on the phone that I was recording on was crap. So just know that some of those things that I had talked about in that last little clip of me, that's what we're doing. Here's where we're left after so much more of doing that. Still not the prettiest thing in the world, but you can see it is starting to flatten out a little bit. So let's take a look at the same process. This is going to be sped up 8 times with the Subaru Fender. As you can see here, those differences in elevation are much more manageable looking. Now with that double bend soft tip rod, you see I'm just kind of connecting the dots between the highs and the lows. So wherever I see it's a little bit low, just get in there with that soft tip. Maybe you are observant and notice that I have a dent dial set up down there. Go check out the free video on YouTube with the other big Fender dent and you'll see what that's doing. It's basically preventing blowout, but I do show you how to hook that up. It's super simple, works great. Now all that I'm doing here is I'm trying to get everything to what I like to call one event. So I'm using that slapper tapper from Dent Dial. Just try to get everything down. You want everything to be on roughly the same plane. Lots of reasons for this. The smoother I can get this to come up, the smoother the texture is going to be at the end. Furthermore, the more differences in elevation, the more jacked up this thing looks during the repair, the more my brain gets confused and doesn't know what to do next. So you will be absolutely appalled. Next time you're kind of lost in a repair, spend some time with your knockdown. That is one thing that every trainee that I have worked with has a problem with. Everybody wants to do the sexy thing, which is the pushing, right? Wrong. 70% of your repair process is going to be done with a knockdown if you're doing it well. That might not be a knockdown per se. As you can see here, it could be a hammer, it could be that Craftsman hammer, it could be a slapper tapper, whatever, but you will be knocking down the majority of the time during any kind of big dent PDR operation. Another thing that I see a lot is a lot of time you don't know how close you are. So what'll happen is you'll push highs here, you'll push highs here, you'll leave a little river in between, and you keep going for those low spots and going and going and going, and next thing you know, you're high. Well, a lot of times I can knock down those high for you, and you'll see that, oh damn, I wasn't that far off to begin with. So this is what's going on with this Subaru Fender here. Now this Subaru Fender, I am probably no more than maybe 2 hours into this, not very far, and it's already starting to shape up pretty well. I've made it through all the rougher parts. Now I'm getting down to my tuning, followed by the fine tuning work. But you see, now I have a couple little sharp dents on that body line, but if you go to realworldpdr.com, you can see pinchy little body lines and exactly how I'll handle those. Now on this Honda Fender, I am still doing this stuff. Oh my God, this thing took for damned ever. That black thing you see swinging around there is what I used to prevent blowout here. I didn't have my dent dial-up, was at home fixing this over the weekend because the dealership needed it back ASAP on Monday. That is a bar clamp. That's what I'm using to prevent blowout. I just took a drink of my rum and coke because you can do that when you work at home. And it looks like that was an easy setup, but watch this. This is how this actually went down. I was so mad at this thing. Where are you going? Get the back here, you son of a bitch. God. Yeah, I wrestled with that bar clamp for a while trying to get it to work. And meanwhile, back at the little peaceful Subaru dent that I was doing here, just to show you a little bit of the access and tool I was using a Stanliner sword tool. It's actually not quite the sword tool. It's something we had modified that I will show you. Going down there through that gap between the headlight and the fender, wide open spaces, real easy pushing, doing a little bit of tuning work here. No problem. This was right before the customer picked it up, so next thing we'll see is about where we ended. So I got a late start on this one, probably about 3-4 hours into it, on and off here. Everything turned out great. Customer loved it. Everybody was happy. Did not break my back fixing this dent. A couple of small waves I wasn't stoked with, but no biggie. Well, let's not forget about the Honda. I wonder how that's going over there. This was actually before. This was stupid. This one was tough. I honestly thought that this was not going to be as tough as it is. I thought that it's a little crunchy, but damn. And damn was right. 3 or 4 hours off and on that big Subaru dent. This one, I'm going to guess I probably had double that. Monday morning, like 3, 4, I don't know. Lost track of time. I'm as done as I'm gonna get. Still needs a wet sand, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it one when I get back to the shop tomorrow. And that's what a very tired man whose spirit was almost taken by a Honda looks like. The actual chain of events goes Honda, the very next morning Subaru, but I wanted to end on that because that thing sucked. Hey, this section here is for Wallaby John. So Wallaby John is a trainee that I have in my shop right now for in-person training. Wallaby John is a trainee that I have from Australia. He has recently given me a little bit of guff about our American culture and what he calls our love of guns. Now, Wallaby John, like, I don't know, like a lot of people have a carry gun here. I mean, just to stay safe, but then you have to have a backup gun. Now, that's important. But some days you're kind of feeling like Dirty Harry and you just want to have your Dirty Harry gun. And then some days you want to be pretty, and that's why you have this. I mean, they all really do the same thing, but then sometimes, you know, a little more sleek and tactical. Yeah, that's what you want. And then sometimes you want to relive your old Marine Corps days, you know? It's just whatever. But then some days, you really want to relive your old Marine Corps days. Now, that doesn't mean that I love guns. It's just that, you know, sometimes you just need some laying around the shop for protection, John. And I dare you to say something else about them. Oh, Wallaby John knows I'm kidding, probably. So the very same dealership that I just did that Fender for just dropped off another one. Check this bad boy out. Oh yeah, that's some complicated door damage. That's what I like to see. I don't know where they keep getting these beat up Hondas from, but I'll take them. The full lesson's gonna be on realworldpdr.com. Hope to see you there.